Sometimes I think that what God does is he removes all layers of trust of somebody you can trust in your orbit or universe or like whatever. It doesn't matter whether it's the news or personally, whatever, because he wants you to look to him. Because the only way you can learn to use discernment properly is through just trusting in him. And so this is where it gets a little difficult because people are naturally looking for somebody that's going to tell them all the truth. Okay, well, that's God. That's why discernment is important because, and I'm going to try to explain this because, most people would listen to some of my videos and think, you're crazy, there's nobody you trust. Yeah, no, there's not. There's not. I think that I will say this. I still trust Trump, even though I get fed up with. But I think his goal still is the same as it was in 2016. The one thing that was rarely talked about by any, even media today or alternative media, is him wanting to eradicate and completely obliterate modern day slavery in every form. So that would go along with your H-1B visas. Those visas are an easy way to traffic people for labor trafficking. So I don't, even though Elon Musk thinks that Donald Trump's views have changed on that, no, I don't think they have. I think he believes in some of the visas for sure. Nobody wants to eliminate all of them. I think he knows that there's plenty of people in this country, especially in Silicon Valley, that use that system to not hire American workers, to drive changing the culture, and they want cheap labor. So even though everybody, and again, the people that are trafficked, the number one demographic that is trafficked is young women, young girls, not children. Children are the second trafficked, but the first are young women, usually 18 to the 20s. After them, it's children. But everybody's thought, it's no. Donald Trump has said the number one that the people I took care of were always young women, no children. So that trafficking may be sex exploitation, and a lot of it is, and some of it labor. So when Trump said he wanted to obliterate it, it was all of it. Every media, even the ones that have left, like Tucker left Fox a while ago, right? Or he was asked to leave because he was speaking the truth or something. And then so then he started a paid subscription platform on X. And yet X gives Tucker Carlson, Glenn Beck, Patrick Bet-David, Rogan, there's a ton of them, all the leeway they want, and in return what they have to do is parrot that Elon Musk is a free speech absolutist. So the reason I'll still listen to them. It's important to listen to what they say because that's the only way you can catch them in the problem with all of them is what they don't say. And what they do say, because when they started pushing the free speech absolutist of Musk, I'm like, how can they just disregard us average Americans out here? It shows they don't care about the Constitution. But then you have to remember, most of these people, Megyn Kelly, Glenn Beck, Tucker Carlson, many others, they came from mainstream media. So anybody that came from has been their life in mainstream media and then suddenly gets their own platform and you want to believe that they suddenly have changed their ways, you should really rethink that. I wouldn't say write them off. That's their decision with God. But you should be able to see that if they were truly about America and about the people and the Constitution, and they were really about being honest, well, then they would have been honest long before Trump came into office, don't you think? Instead, they stayed at their platforms, got their money. And then suddenly it's like there was this reshuffling of things. So, Elon Musk buys X, and really he's no different than Dorsey. He's not. Nothing has ever changed on X for me. It's the same way as under Dorsey, because Elon Musk was willing to give all of that conservative media people a platform to say what they wanted to. They just never could say the truth about Musk, that he's not a free speech absolutist. So then it should tell you who they are. And you might think, well, we have to have somebody we can trust, yet you're supposed to trust God. So that's why, in a way, it's good, like what, even though I can't stand Donald Trump elevating Elon Musk and many of these other people, it's kind of good in a way, because it forces you to even, trust God. That's where you have to put your faith and your trust in. And God will lead you into how to discern these things, because they're simple things here. And I think many times people are lazy too. It's like, no, you want somebody like, okay, Tucker's told me the truth, or Glenn Beck has told me all this truth. He's talking about the globalist and transhumanism. And so of course, they're speaking the truth. But when they start parroting things that everyday people like me, who don't have a lot of followers, but there's a bunch of people like me that are saying, no, Elon Musk is not a free speech absolutist, and we've been saying it since the start, then it should make you realize who those people are. Because if they were truly free on their platforms to say things the way they were, then you would think that they really would say the truth, that no, Elon Musk is no different than Dorsey, except that he gave conservatives, some conservative mainstream media people, a voice on his platform, and in return they have to praise him and worship him. So I think you have to recognize that, everybody thinks, well, when is somebody going to come tell them the whole truth? How can anybody do that? There'll be a ton of people that don't believe anything. And I'm sure, yes, there's evidence for many of these people, but you should pray for all these people, because they're not right with God. They're not. Because if they have this powerful platform, Glenn Beck does, Tucker Carlson does, Patrick Bet-David does, Megan, all of them, and they do not even stand with the people. So that means if you are in a media role and you don't even stand with the people, then you don't even stand with our Constitution, but you're a good bullshitter. Because all of those people should care that Elon Musk shadow bans. And there's no, and for people that think, well, maybe they don't know it, they do. They do. Again, Joe Rogan, he has that guy on his show every time that looks up things right on his show, right? Patrick Bet-David has that. Many of these people, they do massive amounts of research. They know. It's an agreement. I mean, if they served the globalists before by staying in the mainstream media, then do you think it's really changed now? And maybe they've changed their ways, but you'll know for sure they've changed their ways because they're willing to be fully honest. None of them will be fully honest about Musk. So there's a ton of people like me that have said the truth, that no, we're shadow banned. Everyday Americans are being shadow banned. While those people who used to be in the mainstream media have carried on that Elon Musk is a free speech absolutist. All those people have carried on about X too. None of them wanting to even mention Truth Social. Some of them not even having an account on Truth Social. Don't you think that's a little bizarre if they're a Trump follower? So that's how deceptive these people are, and they're on TikTok too. As I mentioned in my last video, when I see that people they supported Trump, but they didn't. And it's fine if they don't like him, but they voted for him. But when they literally will ignore the abuse of modern day slavery when it comes to labor trafficking, then it should tell you they don't have a character that's about truly being honest. But they will present themselves as, I'm higher educated, I know best. Well, yeah, there's a ton of you on here in TikTok that I believed you at one time, and I don't anymore, because you all seem to want to just disregard the fact that labor trafficking is the same thing as human trafficking. But it's human trafficking for labor. So at the end of the day, that has always and still is Donald Trump's number one goal. That I would guarantee. And all of these people have been serving to keep you from realizing that goal.